I see them at Christmas time, out ringing the bells. I've seen their bands playing at the mall and those angel trees.
The Salvation Army? Oh, the bell, the ringing of the bell.
I think those bell ringers are all around the world.
Oh, yeah, they're those people with ringing the bells outside of Walmart during Christmas.
Don't they ring the bells at Christmas time?
You never know when disaster can strike, and the Salvation Army is always ready, and in this day and age, always with its coalition of partners.
We have 13 distribution sites opened, staffed by National Guard members, by New York City service volunteers, and by the staff of the Salvation Army. They distributed something like 290,000 meals and nearly 500,000 bottles of water yesterday.
The Army took on a lot of work for Sandy. We were in the right place at the right time in the Emergency Operating Center with the Office of Emergency Management. We participated with the Mayor's Office, the National Guard, and did an emergency surge. We call an emergency surge of minimum standard food and water that was distributed in record time throughout New York City. 2 million meals and probably 700,000 bottles of water. And we put all of our thrift store trucks into action, trying to unclog the streets, get that in-kind product off the streets, put that through our processing center so that that clothing can be sorted, can be vetted, what's recyclable, what's not.
The stories that I've heard, people have lost absolutely everything. They have lost their houses, they have lost every article of clothing, every picture, every memory.
He called me up saying the water's piling in over the windows, coming in through the garage door. The water level was up to my eyes.
Today was probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life, to come out and see everybody so helpful with each other and wanting to clean up Staten Island, and all of this destruction behind us. This is people's, not just their homes, but their memories, their lives. I've seen baby pictures on the floor and kids' toys and dolls, and it's just like, this is everything everyone owns. And I cancelled work and got on a plane and came out here so I could help, and it's been a really beautiful experience.
From the time of the founding of the Salvation Army by William Booth in 1865, countless men and women have joined forces with the Army to minister to the needs of others, in good times and in bad.
Even if we might not be able to help them with the physical thing that they're asking for, they know that we'll listen to them and we'll give them that encouragement and if they ask for someone to pray with them, it's something we can do. And people like Major Wittenberg, who are trained specifically in reaching out to people's spiritual needs.
It's the talks. It's the people that come and share with you their heart and what they're feeling in the aftermath of it. And in some minute way to offer them comfort, that's sustaining, because that is truly what it's all about for me.
The whole focus and outreach and mission of the Salvation Army was to minister in God's name to all peoples and to meet human need without discrimination. And that mission and message is the same today. It doesn't matter who you are or what you are welcomed into the Salvation Army to be a part of this family.
Yeah, Salvation Army doesn't have an exit plan. We don't leave these communities. We live in these communities. We are definitely there for the response phase, and we'll be there for the recovery phase and the long term. We're not going anywhere, and the reality is when a lot of the other agencies pull out, their good work is done, the pat answer is usually always the same. You're still in need, go to the Salvation Army.
On September 11th at 8:46, the first plane hits the North Tower, and pretty much 30 minutes afterwards, the first mobile kitchens for the Salvation Army arrived on scene. Actually, we were there prior to the second tower even being hit, and our responsibility at that point was passing out just water, putting the coffee on, getting that ready, and then the second tower was hit. We moved back out of sight in order to move away from some of the falling debris. The city at that point calls the Salvation Army and says, we need 35,000 sandwiches for lunch. I need 60,000 sandwiches for dinner. And I immediately say, okay, no problem. Hang up, and then the staff here who were in the command center began to worry about how to do that. Of course, when you're asked to accomplish something of that magnitude, the first thing you would do is look for your contractors, look for the people who are already in service, you already have an agreement with, you already have a relationship, and that was Whitson's. We called Whitson's and they said, no problem.
Working under the direction of the Salvation Army, Whitson's coordinated all aspects of the food service effort in the New York area. Over the next 8 months, more than 3 million meals were served at Ground Zero, the medical examiner's office, the Staten Island landfill, and several other locations in New York. This miraculous feat was, in part, accomplished through a unique program developed by the Salvation Army and managed by Whitson's. The Restaurant Revitalization Program was developed to help stimulate the local economy by revitalizing the restaurants impacted by the September 11th attacks. Meals would be purchased from local restaurants, delivered to Ground Zero, and served to the rescue workers. This program began with 3,500 lunch meals purchased each day. It quickly grew to 5,000 daily meals purchased from up to 65 area restaurants. In December, the entire feeding operation at Ground Zero was turned over to the Salvation Army. The Army moved from a 4,000 square foot soft tent into a 35,000 square foot tent owned by the Environmental Protection Agency. The tent was affectionately called the Taj Mahal. The Taj became a sanctuary for the hundreds of firefighters, police officers, and workers operating at Ground Zero.
This place has been like a godsend for us. All these people that are working here, we consider them our angels. They really, when we come in here, with the food, that's been terrific. The way they wait on us hand and foot. They sit with us, they talk. We've become friends, with these people. And we need this. We need time away from the site, for food, to eat, a little rest, conversation, other than, what's digging for the remains of the people down there.
Down at Ground Zero, in the beginning, the fires were still burning, and it was very, very hot, and the workers in there trying to locate the bodies, their boots would literally get burned through. And when we could finally convince them to come out to our tent, we also had medical supplies there, and we would get them to sit down in a chair, and as they sat, we would kneel in front of them, untie their boots, and literally take their boots and their socks off, and then we would use saline and just clean their feet, take a towel and dry it, and powder their feet, and then we'd put clean socks back on them. And as we did that, we would massage their feet, and as we massage, then all of their feelings, everything they were seeing, everything they were dealing with would come out. Then we'd put their boots back on and send them back into the fray, wishing that there was more that we could do for them.
Who are they? Where do they come from? Why do they do what they do? They appear as if from nowhere, and when they've finished helping those in need, they vanish, never having asked for so much as a thank you for all of their kind deeds. In a society that bases happiness on fortune and profit, why do these people insist on giving their resources and services for free? Who are the people of the Salvation Army?
I can remember it was a beautiful day, and I remember it was Joplin graduation.
We had a group of church leaders over at the house, and we were making tacos, having a great time like we normally do. And because we had people over, we had the TVs off, and we weren't listening to any radio or anything.
Helped someone cut their yards, came home, got showered, sat down to rest, and all of a sudden I heard the siren go off.
This is a very dangerous situation.
Take shelter now and see that tornado on the ground from our tower camp.
It is certainly going on. Please do not go outside.
It was more than just tornado, it was grinding into the earth.
A firefighter walked in, and I heard somebody say, "I need trucks to pick up bodies."
It was just a horrible scene.
People were stunned. They were looking for their loved ones.
I'm Mike Woolston, was the mayor in Joplin at the time of the tornado. The city manager, the fire chief, and I went on a vehicular tour of the area just to try to get a sense of what had happened. The photographs and the television coverage just doesn't give you any sense of the reality of things when you can stand in a spot and literally turn 360 degrees and everything is just flattened.
I've seen a lot of tornadoes, and I've never seen anything like Joplin.
It was like a bomb went off.
The path was about 1/2 to 3/4 of a mile wide and roughly 13 miles long.
We were triaging people and splinting arms with rulers and duct tape. I looked up and I saw the Salvation Army. They were just there.
People just always know that the Army's going to be there. If there's a disaster of some kind, the Army's going to be there, and they're going to do whatever needs to be done to get you through that.
When I arrive on a disaster scene, the first thing you see is you see people just trying to find their way. Doesn't matter what the disaster is, whether it's a 9/11 or whether it's Hurricane Katrina or the floods in North Dakota. It's always the same. There's people trying to find their way to recover, and it's very difficult. And sometimes just being that shoulder, walking up to someone, being the shoulder to cry on, someone to talk to, and somebody to pray with them. That's oftentimes the most critical part to someone in their process of recovery.
That first day, walking down in the rubble, there's search and rescue crews recovering bodies. I remember walking with Major Richardson and Major Granger, and one family had already recovered 2 people from the rubble, and they were waiting for the third to be pulled out. And I was struck by how readily they walked right in there with them and held their hands and prayed with them and stood by their side and waited with them for the worst.
We go because we want to be there. We go because we want to help people. We want to be the presence that will be a blessing and a hope to them. And so doing the most good to me simply means that I'm promising you that I'm here for you. I'm promising you that I am here to see what I can do that will help you.
The Salvation Army brought hope.
The street corner was just overloaded with people of all income levels and ages and races, all just in the same moment. They were the same. There were babies without formula that needed diapers. There were people that were injured and needing medical attention. Everyone was hungry, everyone was hurting, and here was the Salvation Army in the heart of it.
We build local-based teams, and those local-based teams we call them the DIRT teams, the Disaster Emergency Response Teams. It's critical for us to have local teams ready to go to respond to the community. And we've gotten pretty big, but the heart of the ministry is the same, is serving the people what they need when they need it.
The Army served over 10,000 meals per day. I know they had a distribution center where people who had lost everything could go and get clothing, could get household items, furniture, shoes, socks, underwear for the kids, and they have case management to handle the emotional needs of the community.
It was wonderful that they were there, and they stayed.
Out of all the national organizations or government agencies or, the people that really go in and help people, the Salvation Army hasn't closed its doors, said, okay, we're done, we're going to go on to the next thing. They've never done that. I mean, it's a year later and they're still helping.
We don't create hope. The hope is there. There is a tomorrow.
We can do tuna salad,
pulled pork, hamburgers, hot dogs.
And we have these wonderful fruit cups here as well.
Chicken and dumplings today. Got chicken salad for later.
We have a lot of these little Dove chocolates here. They're wonderful. And some ones with hearts with cherry in them, so those are very nice too.
Noodles, lots of stuff.
That's a pretty good menu.
Good.
Pretty good menu. And two. All right, you're welcome. Have a good day. Seen a lot of people helping, a lot of volunteers, a lot of people in disarray.
Too hard to concept, still don't believe it. Just too hard to realize. All this could happen in such a small area.
They're tearing down these houses because they've all been condemned. And I was sitting in this truck looking out there and I saw a man walk by. He was just walking by that truck, and when he came back to his car, his shoulders just slumped. I went over and talked to him. He said he just found out that he could come in and check on his truck and found out his house was condemned. So we invited him to come over. We gave him some food. We talked to him, let him know we're praying for him.
Well, a little old lady came up here. Her husband, he was telling me how they lost their entire house. They wrote it out in their bathroom, and they walked out of the bathroom. Literally, the whole roof of the house was gone. And I guess they're just telling me about everything that they're gonna do and staying strong. They give these people in this little town the credit they deserve.
His wife has just she's 8 months pregnant. And I said, I didn't know whether I should congratulate you, but I said, I'll congratulate you because you're bringing a new life into the world in the midst of all this.
Coming to Tuscaloosa was my first disaster volunteer effort of this magnitude, and I have to say, it's definitely opened my eyes to what the overall experience of being a disaster response volunteer is. it is so much more than just giving out food or water or other material goods. There's something behind that. You know, there's something with connecting with this community, offering a shoulder to cry on or somebody just to talk to, and the ability to hear these survival stories from the folks that have endured just massive catastrophic damage. And to not only hear their stories, but to see the resilience of this community made such an impression on me that it just shows how human beings are built. They're able to withstand just these awful things, and yet we can all work together as a bigger community to really lift each other up. So for me, it's way beyond, you know, running in there, handing out a bottle of water, but it's basically being an extended family to those who really need someone in times like this.
We're not leaving. We've been in Tuscaloosa 101 years, and we're still serving. We're still going, and we're just going to do whatever we need to do to help the community.